And I'm back. Heather said no sound. Just me said she'll be back. I'm back. We literally just did a mic check. I was just talking to Pat. I say it every morning. That's okay. We get it figured out. So it's election day. I had my whole day mapped out. I was like, I'm going to get to the poll at 7, get that done, do the show, uh, get my meetings and stuff done, and then maybe do another show later in the afternoon. I think I'm still going to do another show later in the afternoon because there's a lot to discuss with this whole Jared situation with Adventures with Purpose. But anyway, if I do, I'll throw it up. You guys know the routine. Then I was like, nah, I don't really feel like getting in line at 7 a.m. I'll let the people that are on the way to their office get there first. And then, of course, it started raining. So I'll do it probably around lunchtime. Shanny already went and voted. All right. All right. Shannon's going after work. Radio Gaga's already done. Cutting Up said, good morning on this wonderful election day. Yeah. Anybody got any election day sales going on? A lot of people are taking the whole day to go Christmas shopping and stuff. Only in America. Capitalism at its best. Just take the day, go vote, and then go get your Christmas shopping done. Lisa's going after work. Mary after her doctor's appointment. All right. Let's see who's all in here. Laverne, Cassie, Mary. I saw Elaine this morning. Hello, Lana. Lala, Gladys, Kayla, Bonnie. I was actually going back and forth with Bonnie in the Crime Lines and Lies Facebook group. There's Mama Kay. Be a Shiner. Hello, there's just me. Warlike Wrath. I saw this. How do you get that font? Because besides your YouTube name being Warlike Wrath, you have a really scary font. Hello, Ilanka. I replied to one of your comments today, Ilanka. I certainly did. Got some more comments to go through today about Delphi. Still on Delphi, going to be on Delphi for a long time. Not going to change what I said a couple of weeks ago. Anytime there's an update on Delphi, it's been this way for almost 6 years. I said I just instantly shit. I'm like, what is this going to be now? Well, in the last week, we went through the press conference where Doug came out and said, Richard Allen, he's in jail. We already knew he was in jail. And it's not just in connection with or another freak they dug up out of the CP ring. But this is double murder for Libby and Abby. So we got past the surprise and the shock of that. I said that on a video earlier. I think it was the one yesterday. Now we're having the real conversations. And some people aren't liking these conversations. The name of the show is This is a Defense Attorney's Dream. So if you're licensed in the law, licensed in Indiana, and defense work is your forte, you're probably chomping at the bit because there's a lot of shit going on. They've dropped 5 of Keegan, KK. They've dropped 5 of his charges. Big whoop, he's got 25 still, okay? We've got reasonable doubt out the ass, and that's without even seeing the probable cause. I say that why? Why? Because besides that we have a sealed probable cause, which is fine and good. This isn't about, as the judge said, my bloodthirst, morbid curiosity. It's not about any of that. It's not even about my need to know. The citizens of Delphi's need to know. The cause for public safety. It's not about any of that. And before we get into it, I don't want to get it twisted at all. And as people come in, you might want to let them know if they start saying, how can you defend Richard? How can you defend Keegan Kline? If they start any of that, I'm not defending them. But if their defense, Richard mainly, Keegan, I'm not worried about. Richard mainly, if it continues to go this way, this is defense attorney's wet dream. That does nothing for Libby and Abby. So by having these conversations and saying, now hold up, it's not about my need to know, it's about justice for Libby and Abby. We get 6 months down the road, 6 days, 6 weeks, whatever, and they say, his constitutional rights have been pissed all over. I have a lot of questions. I am in no way, shape, or form a constitutional expert. That would be the Supreme Court. I ain't anywhere near that. An attorney weighed in on one of the local news stations and said it's going to be very hard not to have a biased jury because there is extensive media coverage. There is extensive media coverage. And on top of that, the family, which has every right to do this, they're very vocal on their social media about how they want this to go down. There's actually a petition to not unseal the probable cause. We don't even know if he had representation when he was advised he was being charged with 2 counts of murder. This stuff really worries me. Because when you go back, what are you going to do? you're going to get some slick Rick lawyer that says he's going to sue the state of Indiana for false arrest. This is the kind of stuff that lets killers walk loose. It's crazy. And I'm not even talking about the probable cause. We haven't even heard that he has an attorney yet. I think he has till the 14th to make up his mind. And this isn't up to law enforcement. This is up to the DA. Law enforcement brought the DA enough evidence to get the probable cause. Mama Kay said, I'm sure there was an appointed counsel for the charge hearing. They usually have one on call. I was hoping. So then we get to, I mean, unless he's going to pull a Daryl Brooks and say, no, I've got this. I doubt that, though. I doubt that. There's no lawyer yet. Supposedly, he's going to hire his own private counsel. Okay, good. Good. Get your own private counsel. His own private counsel, though, is going to tear this up. They're going to tear this up. As far as Libby and Abby's rights, that was taken from them the day they were murdered. What we're in pursuit for is justice. Can justice prevail if on a technicality or several, this man, if he did it, is let go? If they have to throw everything back in the boat and say, can't use that, that's not justice for them. No, we know better than that. We know better than that. We also know it takes a very long time. I couldn't believe over something I posted yesterday, people coming after me saying that I'm siding with them. I'm not. I'm not at all. I've got a couple of comments that stuck out to me. Bear with me a second. I've got the link posted too. We're going to go through a couple of things on KK because I think it's very important for us to know that 5 of his charges have been dropped. 5 of them. Hang on, let me get to these comments. I'm already getting myself off track. Hang on. All right. When asked, this is by Jack Spratt. By the way, I read all your comments. If you don't make the live show, of course, I see your comments in chat. We talk amongst ourselves in the live chat. Leave an after show comment. If I showcase it on the show, send me an email. You'll find out why. Jack Spratt said, when asked, hang on, I got to get my glasses. That's how prepared I am. All right, maybe I'll have it in gear now. Now I've got to wipe them off. Okay. Again, Jack Spratt said, when asked if he thought Richard Allen killed the girls, Doug Carter replied, the judge signed the probable cause affidavit. Well, he says, and this is really important to think about, the same judge recused himself from the case. There was a lot of chatter about that. What's going on with that? He said it's for the safety of his family. I agree. That would be a big issue. I cannot believe people were doxing his family, using pictures of his family in thumbnails. They didn't sign up for that. They didn't sign up for that. So the judge that signed the probable cause agreed to keep it sealed, recused himself. Now, this judge is not stupid at all. He's not naive. He lives in Delphi. There's no way that he didn't think that this could get a little hairy. He took an oath. So already we have a problem with Richard's defense going forward. If Richard has a problem defending himself, Abby and Libby have a problem getting justice. It is that simple. Extremely complex, extremely complicated, way above my pay grade, but that's the simplest way I can make it for all of us to agree to disagree. If he cannot get a defense, if he can't defend himself against this, Libby and Abby do not get justice. So this is exactly what Doug Carter said.
This is your guy?
The judge signed the probable cause affidavit for the arrest of Richard Allen for 2 counts of murder. Yes.
Do you think there are other people involved?
I'm not going to go there.
He said, I'm not going to go there. It's just my opinion that it is sealed up, not because they're worried about the public not being able to handle the heinous, probably disturbing AF details in the probable cause. If we can get through the one that we read yesterday, well, if this one's worse, I don't know, because that was tough to get through. But you get my drift. They're not worried about that. They're not worried about that. I don't think that's what it is at all. I do think it has a lot to do with what Doug later said to a local news station. On the screen, Indiana State Police Superintendent Doug Carter, in an interview Thursday with iTeam 8, said his agency is still looking for others involved in the Delphi murders. I have a feeling there's a lot of stuff in that probable cause, and us being able to use reasonable deduction can figure out who the hell they're talking about. They don't want that out yet. They don't want that out yet, but they know they have their guy. It's an odd chain of events that came together all of a sudden. Now, Keegan is a known liar. He's been sitting on his ass in jail for a couple of years doing nothing but lie. He lies, he lies, he lies. In August, they take Keegan on a little field trip when ISP took custody of him. Then it seemed out of the blue to all of us. They do a pretty specific search of the Wabash River. Then a couple of weeks ago, they are digging around Richard's backyard. I just recently found out that his wife just sat in the driveway for 12 hours. They interviewed a couple of neighbors on this same news station. Said, yeah, they saw that going on, but they didn't think anything of it. There's your in plain sight problem. There is your in plain sight issue. We've been asking, how would you not know? Well, hell, the neighbors knew that unmarked cars with tinted windows, law enforcement was digging around in Richard's backyard and didn't think anything of it. They didn't mean in relation to Delphi. They just meant they didn't think anything of it at all. The hell? So this is what I believe the probable cause issue is. As far as the judge that signed it and recused himself, this is what he has said. He broke it down. He said, just so the world knows, the Carroll Circuit Court consists of me, Benjamin Diner, the judge. It's just me. Well, we figured it's a small town, right? Under 3,000 people. We didn't think they had, 30 judges sitting around. There's only 3,000 people. He goes on to say, my court reporter was hired on Friday and she began on Monday. So we're we're training as well, right? So we're training on top of everything. We all know what it's like when someone comes new to work. Pain in the ass. So it's just him, brand new court reporter. Then he goes on to say, my bailiff answers the phone, has no experience and no knowledge about the legal process. So all in all, he's saying, I'm short-staffed, I'm training, I'm teaching the bailiff about procedures, part of the training. I got YouTubers using my family for thumbnails. I've got a bloodthirsty public that's blowing my phone up. I went with it at first. I did. Had to turn my heat down. Now I'm not real cool with that. I'm sorry, I'm not. I'm just not real cool with that now because it seems like every corner we turn, and it's only been a week, Richard's defense attorney is getting more and more excited, and no one's even been hired yet. No one's even been hired yet. Reasonable doubt. One person's charged with murder. Yet we have an audio that says guys down the hill. Guys, that's one. That's one. Then a separate recording because they're saying this is one person, but it's not a complete phrase. Then we have another that says down the hill. Well, here's some reasonable doubt for you. And I'm not an attorney. Nowhere near close. Here comes the defense attorney saying, when he said guys down the hill, he was talking to his accomplices. You see, somebody else murdered these girls. That's who he's talking about. Juries are known for picking, if they get a few people on the jury that aren't too damn smart, that are going to say, reasonable doubt, Richard walks. Then we have what's very, very hairy, and I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole because, like I said, not my way over my head, his constitutional rights. Probable cause is a constitutional right on each side. For us to know why a citizen of the United States has been jailed, and for him to know what they know. For him to know what they know. It's crazy. We have biased jury for many reasons. And of course, nobody has come out to say they're defending him. No one. No one. And as far as the video goes, I know that it's 43 seconds. We haven't heard the whole 43 seconds. I mean, hell, with my luck, we've been waiting almost 6 years to hear it, and you're going to hear just a bunch of static. And then that's all they got out of the video or the audio. Anita, exactly. We don't even know the evidence they have yet. They don't. It's sealed. Neither does Richard. Big T, what are you saying? You said go back a little. I missed what you said. Do you really want me to start the show all over for you, Big T? What did you miss? Anyway, to me, it just looks messy. Just looks messy. They know way, way more than I do, for sure. But from this standpoint, it just looks messy. Yesterday, the Daily Mail, which it is the Daily Mail, let's not get that twisted, said Keegan is cooperating. Now, the Daily Mail takes a lot of liberties with their journalism. They don't really cite sources. They just kind of throw it out what they think. I mean, like I could write for the Daily Mail if you really want to know the truth. But they said he's cooperating. I don't know. I don't know. Let's go back to when the transcript was released, when they were talking to Keegan, because I do not believe for 1 minute, I've argued this for a long time, that Keegan is not involved in this. There's just no way. And some people will break it down for you to how Keegan is not involved. I don't buy it. Hang on 1 second.
New shocking discovery obtained by IT mates surrounding the Delphi murders. It's a story that we broke for you today on WishTV.com.
It's one that a lot of people are talking about. We have new details about evidence police might have in the deaths of Abby Williams and Libby German. And it comes from a police interview with Keegan Klein, the man now in jail, accused of creating a fake social media account to get sexual pictures and videos of underage girls. IT mates Demi Johnson has been on this case since day one. She joins us now with more. Demi.
Hey, Phil, yeah, this transcript is 194 pages long. It was given to us by the founders of the Murder Sheet podcast, who have been following the case and obtained the court documents. A source with the Indiana State Police has confirmed to me the interview transcript is authentic. In it, Keegan Klein talks about his conversations with Libby German through the Anthony Shots account. And for the first time, we see words from state police about whether they believe Klein was involved in Abby and Libby's murders. This transcript goes word by word through the interview with Keegan Klein, a state police investigator and a sheriff's deputy. It was in August 2020 as police were arresting Klein on more than 30 child porn-related charges connected to the Anthony Shots social.
Okay, now it's officially 25. They said that they were going to knock off 5 charges. Like I said, all right, fine. He still got 25. So they've knocked off 5 officially. I think Mama Kay said Channel 13 said officially he is cooperating. So it's not just speculation by the Daily Mail. Not every day am I forced to apologize to the Daily Mail. But if that's what the case is and he officially is cooperating, then good. We figured it anyway. Of course, with Delphi, anytime they have an update or some sort of breaking news, we assume Keegan finally got some truth serum. I think the only thing Keegan has said that I do believe, you don't have to agree with me, is when he talked about communicating with the Anthony Shots profile and said, he wasn't going to go meet them anyway. That wasn't really his thing. For some reason, I do believe that he really didn't have any intentions of meeting them. He can't pass off for the Anthony Shots profile. AP said KK rolled.
Social media account. IT-Mate first reported in December of last year that Klein was connected to the account.
Police are focusing on a fake social media account.
And News 8 has learned that same account is tied to a child porn case here in Indiana.
And that investigators in the Delphi murders were aware of it in the days immediately after the deaths of Libby German and Abby Williams. During the interview, Klein admits using the account to get sexual photos and videos of underage girls. He also admits having contact with Libby German. You admitted that you talked to her, the investigator says, for a few hours at a sleepover, and then you blocked her because she was annoying. You remember that? Klein responds saying, "You're right. Yeah." But investigators believe that.
You're right. Yeah. He's so smooth. You're right. Yeah. Hang on. What did I miss? The Rockaways said, what if law enforcement has to give Keegan a sweetheart deal to catch Richard Allen, who should have captured on day one? Allen was an obvious suspect, putting himself at the scene, a smoker, and looked like bridge guy. See, and I don't think it's that simple. I don't. I really honestly believe, how many cases, okay, if you're in Indiana How many murder cases in your state is the superintendent directly involved with? I truly believe them when they said that Dropbox opened Pandora's box. That Dropbox was full of perverted roaches. That Dropbox was full of depraved roaches. Because when they said that Dropbox opened up the biggest CP ring in Indiana state history, that's why I think Doug's involved. He's not a detective. That and probably some political issues that were going on, some inner workings. But you would think that Richard would be obvious if that's how it went down. I've followed this case since 2017 and never, ever, ever heard the name before. Has anybody in here ever heard Richard Allen's name before? Before I'm talking about, before he got charged? I've never heard his name before. What did Trinity say? Yeah, Mama K, Dropbox is the account containing the Anthony Schatz profile and other profile that was collecting the CP material on lots of girls. And it's from what I'm understanding, it's huge. Okay, I misunderstood. Rockaway said, my point is, if Keegan set up the meeting, Keegan is guilty of murder as well. That's what I've been saying. He's the pimp. He's the John. He's the one that has control of the profile. Who knows what else he set up? Not that it led to murder, but who knows what other nasty stuff he set up for these men? He set up Richard Allen's ultimate fantasy that day. This is something he's been thinking about for a long time, and boy, if he didn't do it, he must have really, really done it too. When you have the top cop in Indiana say, at the bottom of that hill is something the human mind can't wrap itself around. What we're talking about here is the totality of evil, is what he said. I totally agree with you, Rockaways. I see what you're saying now. Why is everyone saying nope and never? Oh, you never heard of Richard Allen's name? No, I haven't either. Oh, I have a feeling Keegan knew him. Oh, yeah. Big time. I just want to know why Keegan, and this is not body shaming, this is Keegan shaming, why he has sat on his fat ass in jail all this time and just done nothing but lie. He has done nothing but lie. Who is he protecting and why? If he wasn't even in Delphi that day, then you're not going to get hung up for murder. Who are you protecting and why? Do you think you're going to get out and hang out with your pedo friends some more? Are you afraid of your pedo friends turning their back on you? What are you afraid of, Keegan?
That's not all. When Klein denied exchanging photos and messages with German, a state police detective says, I'm telling you, it's fact. You did, okay? Because the Anthony Schatz persona, that the fake account you admitted to making, communicated with Liberty German on Snapchat and Instagram, and that it was not just for a couple of hours.
No, dude. That one story he said that he was only on it for a couple of minutes or whatever. He spent a lot of his free time, and let's face it, Keegan had a lot of free time communicating with girls on that profile.
They also tell Klein another witness was messaging with Anthony Schatz, who says Schatz admitted he was supposed to meet Libby, but she didn't show up.
Hang on, I got to hear that again. Who is this other witness? Who is this other witness?
Just for a couple of hours. They also tell Klein another witness was messaging with Anthony Schatz, who says Schatz admitted he was supposed to meet Libby, but she didn't show up.
Who is the other witness? Is it his dad? Is it Richard? Who is it? The ski mask guy?
The interview also gives the first public indication that two people may have been using the Anthony Shots account. As detectives detail February 13th, 2017, the day Abby and Libby went missing, investigators tell Klein, 8 o'clock in the morning at your house where you and your dad lived, two separate devices. See the numbers here, how they're the same? Log in, log out. One device, log in, log out, all within minutes of each other to the same Anthony Shots Snapchat account.
This is so important. This is so important. Of course, we've heard about the encrypted apps, not touching that with a 10-foot pole. I'm going to have to find someone that can explain that stuff to me. So this is so important, what they're explaining to him. You weren't the only one. You weren't the only one. So we go back to Richard. Reasonable doubt. We know how juries can go. We know. This right here.
13th, 2017, the day Abby and Libby went missing, investigators tell Klein, 8 o'clock in the morning at your house where you and your dad lived, two separate devices. See the numbers here, how they're the same? Log in, log out. One device, log in, log out, all within minutes of each other to the same Anthony Shots Snapchat account.
Now, to the untrained eye, me that's speaking, that sounds like something was getting cooked up. We had a lot of activity going on.
The detective also tells Klein, regardless of what you say, there are two different authors of those messages. They're not both you. They're both your devices, but the phrasing is different. It changes. It's not the same person. So we know we have multiple logins with Snapchat. We have two different people using Kik Messenger talking to people from your residence.
We know you sent a message. We know. But the phrasing is different. So somebody else was also using the account. They also explained to him how they understand the devices. Log in, log out, log in, log out. The phrasing, listen, the phrasing is different. See, and he can't even lie good. He's such an idiot.
Log in, log out. One device, log in, log out, all within minutes of each other to the same Anthony Shots Snapchat account. The detective also tells Klein, regardless of what you say, there are two different authors of those messages. They're not both you. They're both your devices, but the phrasing is different. It changes. It's not the same person.
It's not the same person. We go back to Richard. Go back to Richard Allen, who's sitting in a jail cell. Just off of this clip right here, and this is just an interview with Keegan when they're telling him this is what we know. We know this. We know the phrasing is different. It changes. It's not the same person. We're just hearing this on the news. They have to present this to a jury, along with they didn't unseal the probable cause. He did not have an attorney. He didn't even have a hearing for an attorney. I think it's going to be the 14th. We have very heavy family weigh-in. The family has a petition to keep it sealed. And I am throwing zero shade at the family of Libby. Zero. It's just looking pretty scary for me if you really want to know the truth.
So we know we have multiple logins with Snapchat. We have two different people using Kik Messenger talking to people from your residence. Klein denied knowing who else might have accessed the account. During the interview, Klein twice references a polygraph test he was given in the Delphi murder investigation, and both times indicates police told him he failed the test.
He took a polygraph in the Delphi investigation. You know how I feel about polygraphs, okay? I think they are so outdated. They can't be used in court. If I know this information, I have a feeling the jury pool in Indiana knows this information. And here we have again reasonable doubt. He failed polygraph. There's always going to be the other guy defense. There's always going to be with this, it was another guy defense.
Test. And just before the interview ends, the detective reminds Klein that when he was asked if he knows who killed Libby and Abby, you said no both times in your polygraph. And guess what? That was deception.
That's the key. On the screen, I paused it. In the polygraph they gave him, and you all know how I feel about polygraphs, okay? Even this isn't going to make me change my mind, but it certainly is piquing my interest. You did say no both times in your polygraph, and guess what? That was deception. Well, that question was, do you know who killed these girls? No. How can you mess that answer up? No. Yes and no are first words we understood. We knew. Look at a 2-year-old. A 2-year-old can tell you what no means. No. No. So when asked if he knew who killed those girls, he said no. They said, and guess what? That was deception. That was deception. And you know how I feel about polygraphs. So for me to even take 2 seconds to address that.
Now, several times throughout the interview, Klein denies killing Abby and Libby. We want to be clear, Klein has not been charged in their murders. In fact, no one has been arrested in the case. It's also important to note that neither investigators nor Klein were under oath during this interview, and law enforcement is allowed to exaggerate facts and evidence during questioning. Klein is due back in court on April 14th. He faces 30 charges, including child porn and child solicitation.
Stunning to see that transcript.
Yeah, buddy, you're stunning. Okay. I agree with you, Jessamy. Jessamy said he may not have known exactly who, but he knew who was involved. I believe that because he knows who's in his circle, per se. I'm using that lightly. He knows who's in his circle. Now, of course, this is an older clip because it's talking about the interview. So when they mention 30 charges, it's now 25. It is 25 charges now. I still think the 25 charges instead of 30. And I have a feeling that they might start shaving off more charges. Not anytime soon. I can't believe they did it that fast. Talk about Captain Obvious. Good Lord. Because back in August, like I said, ISP comes and takes Keegan on a field trip. You're coming with me, buddy. Then they do a specific search of the Wabash. Then a couple of weeks ago, they're digging around in Richard's backyard. They don't just go dig around anywhere where they have a hunch. They have to get a warrant from a judge. They're not easy to get. You get these maverick and these rogue cops that don't go by procedure, and then they have an evidence hearing and they throw all the shit out. Yet you have the public going, that's how it should be done. That's how it should be done. No, that's not how it should be done. No, it's not. We cannot be illegally searched. We cannot be. So like I said, they get down the road. They have an evidence hearing. What they thought was the deal breaker, this is what's going to do it. Can't use it. You can't use it. So they got a search warrant. Digging around in Richard's backyard. Month and a half, 2 months after they take Keegan on the field trip. Must have found something. Except, I still can't believe this. When asked by WISH, a couple of neighbors in the neighborhood, Did you see anything going on? Oh, yeah. I saw some unmarked cars. Saw some guys in trench coats. It's a warm day. Thought that was a little weird. But other than that, I didn't really think anything of it. Saw Kathy sitting her ass out in the driveway for 12 hours, but I didn't think anything of it. There's your in plain sight problem. Okay, let me see what we got here. Joy Jones said, yep, welcome. Summer, Keegan snitched to get lesser sentences. Now, that's what I'm thinking too. Hello, Happy Haggis. That would make the most sense. Why now? Why? He's been sitting in the pokey all this time. He's been sitting in the pokey since 2020 and doing nothing but lying. Lying. That's all he's done is lie. He's such a liar. That's why I kind of chuckled a little bit when they said, well, and Keegan wasn't under oath when they spoke to him. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You could put a stack of Bibles in front of Keegan and say, swear under oath. That doesn't faze Keegan. So why now? Not like they didn't think a couple of years ago to maybe shave a couple of things off to get him to talk. I don't know. He has a trial coming up in January. That maybe is it. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I know right now the conversation, I don't want to say argument, is who led them on to Richard? Because I don't believe, because this dude's name came out of nowhere. A lot of people are saying the wife. I don't think so. I mean, she sat in the driveway for 12 hours. I believe 100% that they told her, this is what we're doing here. She took her Facebook down for a few days. She put it back up. I figured there'd be a new profile picture, probably in a complicated relationship. I kind of looked for a relationship status change. No, but she took down some videos and specifically took down the picture of their daughter posed on the bridge. Anyone find that odd? I found it odd. She's been in hiding. She still is, from what I understand. Not that the neighbors would know. She could be putting up Christmas decorations right now and they wouldn't notice. They didn't think anything of her sitting in the driveway for 12 hours while law enforcement was digging through the fire pit. I didn't think anything of it. 2 different neighbors said that. I didn't think anything of it. This is the picture I'm talking about. This is what she took down. This was on July 5th, 2018, that his wife posted this. And again, we know how people on the internet are. Got a lot of talk to the manager type of people. Leave the daughter out of it. I'm not talking about the daughter. Leave the wife out of it. Not talking about the wife. Talking about Richard, the one that's in jail. One's charged with 2 counts of murder against Libby and Abby. I do want to ask about the daughter and the wife, though. July 5th of 2018, me, that does not live in Delphi, Indiana, understood the significance of this bridge. Understood what it symbolizes. I know the daughter had to have heard about it because there's even pictures of her wearing the tie-dye shirts, which I guess they gave out at school about Libby and Abby. The wife lives there too. She knew what happened to Libby and Abby by that bridge. We know, Richard knows. So how can you talk this girl into taking this picture on this bridge? I'm not going to unblur the picture at all. His daughter resembles Libby. I'm going to guess this was Richard's idea. So, like I said, the argument, conversation, I like to say, is who turned him in. I'm going to say Keegan because of how things were shaken down from August, and also because Kathy seems to be still in the dark. Like I said, when she came back on Facebook, I was fully expecting a relationship a little rocky status. You know, she still has pictures and videos up of her and Richard. It's public. It's public. I didn't hack her or anything. I don't have those type of skills. I'm not Napoleon Dynamite. I don't have any computer hacking skills. Where they're doing shooters in Gatlinburg. I believe the charming video of him playing pool is still up. But she took this picture down. So she's going to protect her daughter. Good, good, good. Thank God. But she's also leaving pictures and videos of her and him. Now, some of them she did take down. Is this denial, or does she not want to look obvious by taking a bunch of stuff down all at once? It does need to be mentioned that for whatever reason, her Facebook has a lot of public stuff on it. I'm not saying it's wide open, but it has a lot of public stuff on it. But there's nothing on her Facebook from the year 2017. There's a video of them Christmas shopping together in 2016. But there's nothing from 2017. Do you guys find that odd? It's like she erased the whole year. I mean, I find it really odd. Hang on one second. This is the last video she has, well, of him. From 2016. 2017, nothing. 2018, she starts posting again, and one of the posts that she makes is the picture of the daughter on the bridge. So that's one of the arguments that she, and I get it, I get where people are going. You know, we're having these conversations. She blocks out all of 2017, and then in 2018 posts a picture of their daughter on the bridge. I still think it's Keegan that turned him in. And I am not saying that I think his wife has anything to do with this CP ring, possible filming. I don't know why I find that creepy, but I do. D, I don't think the wife knew. I don't think the wife really knew either. I don't. And I don't think that that audio could have been cleaned up enough for her. Well, I mean, I don't know, because I did a whole damn video where I compared it to a video. The Down the Hill video, I compared it to a video from her Facebook. And, well, the voice is spot on. Anita said, it's all creepy. It is. It is. Angie Baby said, it's been on my mind about Klein selling him out. Well, that would be the obvious answer, and it would be the right thing for Keegan to do. With all the nasty, nasty shit Keegan has done in his life, this would actually be okay, right? This is what a lot of people say, JM. I would recognize my own husband walking on that bridge. I would too. I would too. Mike said, really, her dad took the picture. Sure, it was a friend. Sure, it was a friend, as most girls, as coolest background drop in town, leave children out of it. This isn't about the daughter. Mike, it's not about the daughter. You can call it the coolest background in town if you want, Mike, but everybody knows what that bridge symbolizes. I've had a lot of locals that have come into this chat, joined the Facebook group, and said when they saw that picture, they could have died because people know that it's almost haunted. That's how they look at it. No one's blaming the daughter. I said, I believe it's his idea. And as far as leaving her out of it, that picture was left public on her mom's Facebook page days after it was announced to the entire country that her dad was charged for double murder of Abby and Libby. Her mother left it public. It's crazy. Yeah, they were married at 25 years at that point. And it is weird because he's been charged with double murder. That'd be the one photo prop I would say, no. Like you said, Mike, coolest backdrop in town, but I don't really want that. "77 Sunsets." The picture is from 2013. It was posted July 5th of 2018. July 5th of 2018. Unless she just had it hanging back in 2013 and didn't throw it up until 2018. But it clearly shows July 5th, 2018. All right, so let's get to what people have been discussing. And I have the link pinned. Don't be shy to grab it and come up and talk. Tell me what you think. Of course, everyone is talking about the probable cause being sealed. We all know. It's strange. It's just not done, if you know what I mean. It's not done. Well, they're doing it. And on top of that are, other things going on. Doug keeps mentioning due process, due process, due process. Well, people that know a lot more than me are saying, this doesn't look like his due process is going smoothly. Hold on.
It has been nearly a week since officials over in Carroll County announced charges in the Delphi double murder investigation. Abby Williams and Libby German were both found dead back in 2017 on the Monon High Bridge. Now, a Delphi man is facing charges. We don't know much about why investigators believe this man right here, Richard Allen, was connected to the killings. Now, we do know he still has to hire his own attorney, and a judge from Fort Wayne is now overseeing the case. Fox 59's Russ McQuaid spoke to a judge who is giving us some insight into this complicated case.
When Richard Allen was arrested on October 26th, that started the clock ticking on the case against him and also on the constitutional rights that protect his presumption of innocence.
Last Monday's briefing by authorities was light on details, including the evidence and the state's case against Richard Allen.
I first thought, well, who's going to represent him? Who's his attorneys?
Allen's My Case file does not list a defense attorney, though in a judge's order last week to move Allen to state custody for his own safety, the court said Allen announced at his secret initial hearing October 28th that he would hire his own attorney.
But given the fact that he's been moved out of the county jail to a couple of different locations indicates he may not have access to counsel in order to go retain one.
Allen has the right to know the details of the case against him, but because the file is sealed, we don't know if he knows what he's up against.
The issue, though, constitutionally for Mr. Allen, though, is paramount. There's no circumstances under which he's not allowed to know why he's been arrested.
Okay, so that's an argument. If it's sealed, now we know it's sealed to us, okay? No big deal. To the people of Delphi, it would be a big deal to me because it's part of their rights too, but I'm not getting into that. Has he been told? Because we haven't heard anything saying that the probable cause has been explained to him. That could be a problem.
Safety. The court said Allen announced at his secret initial hearing October 28th that he would hire his own attorney.
But given the fact that he's been moved out of the county jail to a couple of different locations indicates he may not have access to counsel in order to go retain one.
That's another thing. If they're having to move him around for his own safety, I still want to know more about that. Have they had threats? It's like they're playing Where's Waldo with Richard. They're saying for his safety. So he's saying they've had to move him around, he doesn't have access to counsel. Well, we want him to have access to counsel. We want him to understand the gravity and the heinous nature of what he's being accused of. We want him to know this is what we gave the judge in order to arrest you. This is the search warrant that we gave the judge to go dig up your backyard while your wife was sitting in the driveway. This is everything we have thus far. They're saying that he hasn't even been told. I don't know if I'm buying that.
Has the right to know the details of the case against him, but because the file is sealed, we don't know if he knows what he's up against.
The issue, though, constitutionally for Mr. Allen, though, is paramount. There's no circumstances under which he's not allowed to know why he's been arrested.
Allen has until November 17th to tell the judge if he has an attorney, and he must request a change of venue to relocate his trial to get an unbiased jury by November 26th. And his speedy trial deadline is set for next March 20th. The Carroll County prosecutor's rare secrecy in pursuing this case complicates the state's protection of Allen's rights.
All of that in conjunction or in combination is extremely rare. Bits and pieces of it may not be.
Carroll Circuit Court.
I'm so glad they talked to this judge, and he's saying bits and pieces wouldn't be such a big deal, but all of it together is a big deal. I'm just really afraid that like he said, everything in conjunction is going to be a defense attorney's wet dream. It's stacking up one thing after another where he did not get a fair defense. The biased jury is definitely going to be one. I don't know where they could move this jury in Indiana to where somebody didn't already have some sort of knowledge of this case. I don't think that's possible. Okay, here's the judge that recused himself.
Judge Benjamin Diener said he was overwhelmed and bailed out of the case, and Allen County Superior Judge Fran Gull was assigned by the state Supreme Court to take over. But that doesn't mean Richard Allen's case would necessarily be heard in Fort Wayne if it's moved because of extensive media coverage.
I'm not sure what the coverage of this has been in the Fort Wayne media market. I just know the Indianapolis media market has been fairly extensive in its coverage.
Okay, so he brings up the media coverage. Of course, that's going to happen. The way that stuff works, you have to really be following something because, we hear something one day and a couple days later we forgot about it. But anyway, I think this might be a little different. The family's been very vocal on their social media. That is for sure. And that's absolutely 100% fine. That is their right. Nobody should say that they shouldn't. I wonder if anyone ever told them that, this might come up. We may have to ask jurors if they have ever looked at your social media. Because if they have been following your social media, then they can't be a juror. Because they've been following your social media, so that might influence their opinion. And that's a true thing. That's nothing that they have done wrong at all. I'm just wondering if that was ever a conversation.
Judge Henke expects that the new judge assigned to this case, Judge Fran Gull of Fort Wayne, could hold a hearing as soon as this week to determine.
And it's also my understanding that in Indiana, they do not have televised trials. They don't let cameras in the courtroom. But in Fort Wayne, where the new judge is, she actually was over a televised trial. She actually had cameras in the courtroom. I'm wondering about that as well. Let me catch up on some comments. Mick Stowe. Hey, I answered a couple of your comments, Mick. He said, I hope they have the right guy. To be honest, at this point, we have no reason to believe the perp has been caught other than trust us, we got him. That is a very true and very common statement. There is a lot of truth in that. That comes to an argument that people have. It's like, get off my ass and quit saying that I just want to know. Get off my ass and quit saying I have a morbid curiosity. Get off of it that I've got a bloodthirst for this knowledge. Stop with that. That's not the argument here. The probable cause tells the public that is why someone that was walking amongst us, well, not me because I don't live in Delphi, is suddenly in jail. Because if you can just grab someone off the street and put them in jail and not tell anybody why, you can do that to me. You could do that to me. I do trust that they have a lot of stuff on him. I do trust even if they laid it out in the driveway and labeled it, the neighbors would not have noticed anything, because I cannot believe that two neighbors told the local news that even though Kathy sat her ass in the driveway for 12 hours and they saw people in trench coats digging through the fire pit, they thought nothing of it. I'm over that now. I believe the 22nd is when they're having the hearing to unseal it. 1 month, we were told 1 month and I'm beating a dead horse. I keep saying the same thing over and over, just so people know this isn't about us needing to know. It's not about curiosity, bloodthirst, whatever they want to call it. It's about justice for Libby and Abby. If he is not afforded the defense, if he is not afforded all the tools that we have in the Constitution to defend himself, this is going to blow up. And what do we have? More lies from Keegan? Nothing. We have nothing. Nothing. All right, this clip actually explains it a little bit better. I came across this morning, I believe. Kind of tied in.
Community and frankly the world has been it's no secret that our community and frankly the world has been absolutely rocked by the news of the arrest of Richard Allen. By this point, we all know the Delphi murders case pretty well, unfortunately. The bodies of Abigail Williams and Liberty German were found near an abandoned railroad track in 2017. But for years, authorities have remained really tight-lipped on the facts surrounding this case. To this day, we still don't know how Abby and Libby were killed. We don't know how their bodies were found. The biggest pieces of information, at least since 2017.
Okay, I wanted to read a comment that I almost missed. Kennedy, yeah, Kennedy, exactly. They'll mess it up if not done properly. Exactly. Because the defense, and I don't mean in TV land, I don't mean in YouTube land, I don't mean in the movies, I mean in real life, can already have a field day with this. It's not even about sealing the probable cause per se. It's about, well, like what this guy explained on there, this judge, when he weighed in and he said, in bits and pieces, it's not the end of the world, but as a whole, they're going to have a field day with this. Kamari, Doug Carter said everyone will know. And I trust that. I know that's what he's saying. I can't wait to tell the story, but today's not the day. I know that's what he's saying. The conversation, since we're over this surprise of who the hell is Richard Allen, we've never heard this name before. The shock that they finally have somebody arrested, double murder for Abby and Libby. We're past that, and now we're going, now hang on. He doesn't have an attorney. You're playing hide and go seek with him for his own safety. You're putting him in all these different places, supposedly. The judge recused himself. The judge is the one that signed the probable cause, and now the judge got that is like, forget it. I'm not dealing with this. It's yeah, Doug, I can't wait for you to tell the story too.
By this point, we all know the Delphi murders case pretty well, unfortunately. The bodies of Abigail Williams and Liberty German were found near an abandoned railroad track in 2017. But for years, authorities have remained really tight-lipped on the facts surrounding this case. To this day, we still don't know how Abby and Libby were killed. We don't know how their bodies were found. The biggest pieces of information, at least since 2017, really came during a 2019 press conference when police released new suspect photos and addressed the person they thought killed Abby and Libby directly, who came to be known as Bridge Guy. So now that there's an arrest, almost 6 years after these really terrible murders, for the first time, we're seeing the face of someone police believe is responsible for these crimes, Richard M. Allen. There are still so many questions regarding decisions that have been made by authorities on different aspects of these new developments that have unfolded since the arrest of Richard Allen. So we're going to try and answer some of those right now. The biggest questions we've gotten recently surrounding this entire situation is why we, as a news station, are pushing for the probable cause affidavit to be made public in this case.
The probable cause and the charging information has been sealed by the court.
Probable cause is a requirement found in the Fourth Amendment, and it has to be met before police make an arrest or before they conduct a search warrant. We get and request probable cause affidavits as journalists all the time, and they're crucial because not only do they lay out why an arrest was made and give insight into why a person in our community no longer walks among us as a free person, but they're public documents, so it's transparent why police are taking a person into custody. But a judge sealed the probable cause affidavit.
Okay, that right there. It's public information so that we know and Richard knows why this person is not free in society anymore. They're saying, I can't wait to tell the story, and one day I will. Trust us, we have the right guy. A judge signed the probable cause. We know all that. We're not talking about all the details. They redact shit all the time. Look at the arrest affidavit for James Brenner in the Dylan Rounds case. They haven't even found Dylan yet. Either they're really close to making another arrest or there's something really funky going on. Mama K said he looks scared. Yeah. In all his other pictures, he's got kind of hooded eyes. And yes, it's the same guy. I'm not alluding to anything. This is a shit your pants picture.
For the arrest of Richard Allen, and it's a really rare move that officials would charge someone with 2 counts of murder in such a high-profile case without releasing the reason why. It's something a lot of experts didn't anticipate.
I can't think of ever hearing of a probable cause affidavit being held 30 days after an arrest was made.
Another big question we've been getting is what happened to the judge in this case? On November 3rd, we reported Carroll County Judge Benjamin Diener had recused himself from the Delphi murders case. In his order, Diener said he has determined that the particular circumstances within the underlying case warrant recusal and dictate that a special judge be appointed in this case. Another question we got, why is everyone saying Richard Allen was charged with murder? Isn't he innocent until he's proven guilty? Well, under U.S. law, Allen is innocent until proven guilty. It's a crucial part of due process. The 14th Amendment states no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. That usually refers to fair procedures. But Allen's been charged with 2 counts of murder, and he has been arrested, but he hasn't been convicted. Another question, do police think Richard Allen is the man who committed the murders? Yes, he's charged with 2 counts of murder and has been arrested. Again, the probable cause hasn't been released, so we don't know specifically why. But Indiana State Police Superintendent Doug Carter also told our reporter Emily Longnecker that straight up when she asked him a similar question.
Are you confident this is your guy?
The judge signed the probable cause affidavit for the arrest of Richard Allen for 2 counts of murder. Yes.
Do you think there are other people involved?
I'm not going to go there.
Our final most asked question.
He said, I'm not going to go there. That's what he told her. He said, I'm not going to go there. I don't blame him. I don't blame him. Doug had a rough day. He's the top cop in Indiana, and he's been very involved in this case, and he's not a detective. He's not a detective. But he did tell on November 3rd, he did tell WISH, Indiana State Police Superintendent Doug Carter, in an interview Thursday with iTeam 8, said his agency is still looking for others involved in the Delphi murders. To me, this is why it's sealed. To me, this is why it's sealed. And it wouldn't be Ron Logan. We don't need to worry about him because Mr. I was buying tropical fish the day those girls were murdered on my property. He's passed away. We don't have to worry about him. We don't have to worry about Ron Logan.
Signed the probable cause affidavit for the arrest of Richard Allen for 2 counts of murder. Yes.
Do you think there are other people involved?
I'm not going to go there.
Our final most asked question, will Allen's trial be televised? No, it will not. A rule in the Indiana Code of Judicial Conduct, Rule 2.17, prohibits judges from allowing court proceedings to be broadcast. Interestingly enough, though, a pilot program that launched in November 2021 allowed 5 counties in Indiana to broadcast court proceedings. Judges were at their discretion if they wanted to allow them to be broadcast or not, and Allen County was one of the counties involved in that project. Remember, Allen County's where Special Judge Fran Gohl, who's now being called on to hear Richard Allen's case, was pulled from. At this point, we don't know if the actual case will be heard in Allen County, but it's interesting to think about how that pilot project could have possibly impacted Allen's trial if it hadn't stopped on March 31st of this year. Of course, the situation is one that will continue to unfold. If you have any ongoing questions, please leave a comment. We'll answer it.
Oh, I've got a lot of comments and a lot of questions. Again, it's just my opinion. This is a commentary channel about true crime. I just think about the probable cause being sealed. I think it goes to this, what Doug said, and this is just a snippet of the interview. In an interview Thursday with I-Team 8, said his agency is still looking for others involved in the Delphi murders. But in the meantime, Richard's days at CVS are over. Richard needs to be in jail. We now have enough on Richard to know that we can charge him with double murder. Thing is, you can't keep it sealed forever. Maybe there is some sort of loophole. I don't know. Again, that's way above my pay grade and something that they all have to deal with and work out. And they have to work it out as in such a way that the defense can't use it to get him out of his conundrum. I'm trying to find the schedule. Hang on. Thought I had it right in front of me. This is the schedule that they have right now. Okay, it's my understanding that he has till the 14th to shit or get off the pot as far as an attorney goes. It's either he needs to hire one or they're going to sign one to him. Still, it's very odd to me that from the 28th of October to today, Election Day, November 8th, that he hasn't been assigned anybody. I don't know. Again, I don't know. So besides that, they have the hearing on the 22nd. That is to talk about if they're going to unseal this probable cause. The 13th of January is a pretrial conference. Then they have jury trials scheduled for March 20th. Now, don't look too much into any of these dates because this jury trial may not be until 2025, the way that the court system works. The only thing I can think of, like I said, with the probable cause is this statement right here. We're still looking for others. We've seen many a probable cause, whether it's in any of the crime groups that I have or on this channel where they have things redacted. You don't need to know this. You don't, or they'll put initials, like we can't figure out who it is, but they'll redact it. So how heavily do they have to redact this? Unless what's in the probable cause they're afraid is going to make someone run. Then, of course, this Happy August Ron gave me weird vibes too. The whole thing is so dark. This whole thing. I saw a comment a second ago about being disrespectful. I'm assuming that was aimed at me. We keep things as light here as possible because we are talking about the worst that this planet has to offer. And that's people like, presumably, Richard Allen. Maybe they had open cases with unknown male DNA and now they have a match. I'm glad you brought that up because in the press conference, after I watched it for the 500th time, Doug mentions a lab. He thanked a lab. Now, we've talked on other shows about Delphi when they said, of course, because a lot of people are like, go ahead and just arrest Keegan for murder. Just get it over with. It's been mentioned many times that there is unknown DNA. Well, they have Keegan's DNA. Keegan's sitting in jail. They got cheek swabs. They got his hair. They got his sweat. They got it all. They got Keegan. They got Keegan's DNA. There's nothing unknown about Keegan. People will argue and say, well, it's probably animal DNA. It's probably from an animal. Some people think it's from that cat, one of the cats in Kathy Allen's Facebook. Any lab that does not know the difference between kitty cat DNA and a human's needs to be shut down. Needs to be shut down. Keegan did. Keegan busted this wide open with the Anthony Shots profile. Keegan stepped in it big time. This gives me chills to this day. If you look, it's listed. This is from the murder sheet. Number 14. Well, let's go up to number 13. That I sent links for? What do you mean? Question mark. Go to number 14. Bud. Okay, it says from DC. That's Doug Carter. Bud. From your Dropbox account, off your phone, we have started one of the largest CP investigations ever undertaken in the state of Indiana. Obviously, a lot going on there. Obviously. Gino said, if they thought Keegan was the murderer, I think they would have arrested him already. He's been under close investigation. Yeah. I have a feeling once they came across the Anthony Shots account, they probably thought they had their guy. And then realized they didn't. They realized they had a big old fat sack of lies, though. God. I mean, Keegan would look you right in the eye today and tell you today's Saturday. And that's not because he doesn't keep up with his calendar in jail. Keegan is a liar. I missed a comment. Rockaways. Keegan doesn't have to be the killer to get charged with murder. No, he doesn't, Keegan, but obviously they think you're not because they shaved off 5 charges. Lest we're playing a game of cat and mouse with Keegan, thinking they're working with him, when in fact, they might be slapping him with murder charges. According to Keegan, who would, Honest Abe, he wasn't even in Delphi that day. It wouldn't surprise me if down the road he doesn't get slapped with murder charges. Just because they're dealing with him on his CP charges doesn't make him void from prosecution down the line for murder. Because if he truly was part of setting up this, and I'm saying it as lightly as I can, this meeting between Richard and the girls, he very well could get murder charges. Keegan doesn't have to be the killer to get charged with murder. He only has to participate in the events that leads up to the killing. And it kind of seems like he could have participated. I go back to the clip that we watched in the very beginning of this show where they're explaining the 2 different devices. And yes, it's the same account, Anthony Shots account. But they're explaining the 2 different devices, log in, log out. And then they say to Keegan, it's different phrasing. They know that somebody else was using that account that wasn't him because the phrasing's all different. It wasn't him. It's not how he talks. It's crazy, guys. It is crazy. Well, let me ask you guys, do you think that Keegan will get charged for murder? It's only speculation, only an opinion, only conversation. Ooh, Mystical, thanks for reminding me. Last week, see, today's Tuesday. Last week, it's in the Crime Lines and Lies Facebook group. If you guys aren't in there, send me, well, just go in there and you'll get right in. They busted like 20 people in, I think it was Johnson County, a CP ring. Shani says no. Panda Man says no. Wist and I are thinking the same way. Keegan's connection could be that he lured the girls to go there for Richard. And that's where I've been for a long time. That he was setting it up. Now, he says that Libby was annoying him. I can't really imagine annoying Keegan, but anyway, I do believe Keegan, though, when he said he wouldn't have met up with them anyway. Now, he doesn't mean because he was too busy that day. Keegan doesn't have a very active life. I think it's because, well, he knows he looks nothing like Anthony Schatz. And I don't think that Keegan, I think Keegan is a keyboard warrior in a different way, if you know what I mean. He wouldn't, which is why I thought that he was the murderer for a while. That he got the confidence to go meet these girls, and when they were like, you're not him, he snapped. I don't think that's the case anymore. Kelsey, good old Keegan. Keegan said that Libby. He said Libby was annoying him. Oh, I don't think he ever met him. That's why I said I do believe him when he said he wouldn't have met up with him. He wouldn't have met up with him anyway. Not because he's too cool. Not because Keegan had tons of other stuff going on. I think it really comes down to Keegan's self-confidence. I don't think he would have met up with any girls, period. Liza, bigger than Keegan, it's a CP business. Oh, hell yeah, it is. Hell yeah, it is. Did you see what I put on the screen? This is when Doug Carter was talking. He said, Bud, from your Dropbox account off your phone, we have started one of the largest CP investigations ever undertaken in the state of Indiana. This ring is huge. Huge. Let me look at, and these people are going to keep these secrets to the day they die. Unless they're caught. Part of the 5 charges I was reading, one of them is for undeveloped film. Not that that is a crime to not develop film, but you know where I'm going. I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere on the deep, deep, deep dark web, if there is not a recording of what happened that day. I truly believe that. When I heard what a few of the items that they took from Richard's house, it kind of solidified my opinion. You're exactly right, Nana. Doesn't mean he won't face life in prison. Doesn't mean that at all. And when you see, when you see his interviews, when they talk to him, he's pretty comfortable. He's settled right in. He's settled in. The question for me with Keegan's always going to be, why'd you lie so much? What are you doing to protect these people? Unless you're part of the murder. Keegan has an attorney. They couldn't have made any sort of a deal without him having an attorney. Of course, he has an attorney. It's crazy. Laura says, any link from Richard and Keegan? Not that I have found, and boy, if I'm not looking. I have a feeling they know, though. A video of Keegan in jail? Which one? They've got a few. Hang on. Give me a second. Well, I had it saved. Keegan has his own folder. Go figure, I can't find it that fast. Because I was going to do a whole show later in the week or next week just on Keegan.
I feel like I'm being harassed completely.
Did you have anything to do with the murders of Abby or Libby?
Not at all. And I gave up my DNA, a hair follicle test. I've done everything they wanted me to.
In December.
He said he feels like he's being harassed. Well, he's not being harassed. They've already caught him in lie after lie after lie after lie. Not to mention, he's tied to the Anthony Shots account that communicated with one of the murder victims. That's not harassment, Keegan. Listen to that again. That's not harassment.
I feel like I'm being harassed completely.
Did you have anything to do with the murders of Abby or Libby?
Not at all. And I gave up my...
He answers the question before she's even done asking it. Listen to that. She's not even done asking and he answers.
To do with the murders of Abby or Libby?
Not at all. And I gave up my DNA, a hair follicle test. I've done everything they wanted me to.
In December, Delphi investigators announced...
He didn't volunteer those samples, by the way. He's in jail. I've done everything they wanted me to. Good boy, Keegan. Good boy.
The catfish account Anthony Shots was active on Instagram and Snapchat in 2016 and 2017. And they asked for anyone who interacted with that profile to come forward. But more than a year ago, then 26-year-old Kegan Klein admitted to investigators that he was behind the fake profile and that he used it to ask young girls for nude pictures and videos. Tell me about Anthony Shots. Why did you create that profile?
I don't really know. I was just lonely, you know what I mean?
I was just lonely and let some pedos have access to it and let them use it. I was just lonely. Not that he would be the first person to make a catfishing account. They made a whole show on MTV about it. People use sock accounts every day. Except me, every time I used to go to Facebook jail, I would try it, and Zuckerberg would figure out by noon who I really was. Probably because I was joining my own Facebook groups and making myself an admin. But that's a different story. I'm not as cool as Keegan. But here he is. Oh, I was just lonely. There's a little more to it than that.
Why did you create that profile?
I don't really know. I was just lonely, you know what I mean? Just talking to people. I don't know why I did it really.
And were you ever trying to meet these girls in real life that you were talking
No.
to?
No, never.
I do believe him. Some people don't. Some people do not believe him when he says that. I do believe Keegan when he says that. Not just because he's shaking his head no. I do believe that he had a fantasy life. He fantasized meeting these girls and God only knows what else. But I don't believe that he ever could have worked up the nerve to meet any girls in real life. I just don't.
Just talking to people. I don't know why I did it really.
And were you ever trying to meet these girls in real life that you were talking
No.
to?
No, never.
Just 11 days after the murders of Abby and Libby, task force investigators served a search warrant on the home that Kegan shared with his dad. At the time, the FBI told the Lafayette Journal and Courier they found nothing to indicate a connection to the Delphi case. Kegan's electronics were confiscated then, but he wasn't arrested until 3 years later. He's now facing 30 counts of child pornography and child solicitation in Miami County, Indiana, unrelated to the Delphi murders. He says, though, that Indiana State Police told him Anthony Schatz had been communicating with Libby before her murder. So why do you think investigators are putting so much focus on you right now?
I have not a clue.
You spoke to Libby the day she was murdered. It's Kegan, I believe. I always say Keegan. Some people say KK. I've heard it both ways. He just can't figure out why he's being harassed. That's what he says.
So why do you think investigators are putting so much focus on you right now?
I have not a clue. I think it's because they said I was the last person to talk to her.
That would do it. That would do it. Listen to how he says it. Well, it might be.
Putting so much focus on you right now.
I have not a clue. I think it's because they said I was the last person to talk to her, is what they've told me.
Mm-hmm.
And then she shows up at the bridge and they're abducted and later found dead.
Right.
And because then she was later found dead. He went, correct. Correct. Well, then you know the answer to the question, my friend. Well, not my friend. You know the answer to the question.
And that was not you.
No, 100% not.
Keegan says he has no memory or knowledge of communicating with Libby, and investigators haven't confirmed if what he says is true. Do you think you're going to be charged with anything related to Abby and Libby's murder?
No, I don't.
He said, no, I don't. Nope, no, I don't. Still, it's going to be very interesting when they finally unseal the probable cause, which I don't think it's going to be in the probable cause for some reason. I think they're saving a lot. They have to save a lot of stuff for later. They can't put it all out. There's no way. The probable cause is just the tip of the iceberg. That's what I was saying in the show about Ashley yesterday. I said, this is just the probable cause. This is just the probable cause. Probable cause is just the tip of the iceberg. You haven't even gotten to everything yet. So that's why again, just my opinion, I think when the probable cause comes out, it's probably not going to have that part in. Teresa just got back from voting. Hello, Teresa.
And they're abducted and later found dead. And that was not you.
No, 100% not.
Keegan says he has no memory or knowledge of communicating with Libby, and investigators haven't confirmed if what he says is true. Do you think you're going to be charged with anything related to Abby and Libby's murder?
No, I don't.
So the state police haven't threatened that?
No.
Okay. She said, so the state police haven't threatened that? He said no. He said no. No. So he must know something. He's cooperating. Remember that as of today, 25 counts he has against him aren't in relation to Delphi. What could he have told them to get them on to Richard Allen? I don't know. Yeah, he makes me want to barf too. KK makes me want to just barf. Country boy, hang on. That's another thing. Those counts are low felony charges. Some of the stuff he has could easily be pled down to a misdemeanor and done with. Yes, where Summer, I think he is talking. I do for sure. For sure. Because like I said, the conversation right now is who turned him on to Richard. Since February of 2017, we have heard lots of names. Lots of names. Never heard Richard Allen. We've never heard his name. So who was it? Kathy? His wife finally thinks it could be him? I don't think so. She hasn't even taken his pictures off her Facebook page. She took down some other stuff. Or Keegan. I don't know. But we're going to find out. We're going to keep talking about it. It seems like there's something new coming out every other day. Makes me about want to have a heart attack. It's just insane. All right, if nobody's going to grab the link and come up, then I'm going to start winding this down, get on with my day. I got to go vote. I've got to get some work done, and possibly we might be having another live later this afternoon. I want to work out, discuss, try to make sense of this insanity coming out of Adventures with Purpose with Jared, the statement that Doug made overnight. Country boy, it's pinned. It's pinned at the top. I did put a video out this morning. If you guys get a second, you can go look at it. Brandon Biden. That's your screen name, correct? United States of America, united, not divided. That's right. It's pinned. Here, I'll put another one up. Then if you think about the New Direction press conference in 2019, when they said, you're somebody we may have interviewed before. You're somebody we may have interviewed before. Hello, country boy. Welcome to the channel. Nice to meet you.
Oh, how are you doing?
Pretty good, but it's rainy here. Kind of hard to wake
Yeah.
up.
Oh, I know. I'm in the Delphi area. And Keegan was definitely a part of this. I don't think he knew him. It ain't just him. It's Logan and Richard. It's all three of them.
Do you think Keegan was clearly there that day or not? Or do you
No,
think
no, I don't think he was there. He wasn't there. He's the one that sent Richard Allen to that area because he talked to the girls that day. And from what I'm hearing is they was only expecting one girl to be there, and her friend showed up too.
I've always wondered that myself, that basically Libby was the intended, and Abby was, Abby showed up with her. I've always
And
wondered if he set it up, why they didn't pull anything, and they could have, and it just hasn't come out in any of the news interviews. That doesn't
that's
mean
the reason we're not getting no information on this. There's other people involved, and putting that information out there would hurt the case. And what it was, let me tell you, this is not really a rumor, but this is what's going around town, is that they kidnapped the girls and took them to Ron Logan's barn, brought them back that night, then murdered them where they found them at. Them girls, the place where they was found murdered at, the searcher had looked several times and they was not there.
I wondered about that myself because people had been combing the woods. They'd been all over. So now you live in Delphi?
I live about 10 to 15 minutes out. I'm in that town almost every day.
And so that's what the locals are saying. This isn't fact or anything like that. This is not what's going on. This is just what the locals are saying.
Yes, and that is Ron Logan. Ron Logan's bridge guy. And like I told everybody, we don't know if the Ron Logan was the murderer, but we know he's bridge guy. His phone pinged on that bridge at 2:09 that day of the girls coming up missing. 2:09, 7:30 something, and almost 10 o'clock that night. The last two pings come from where the girls' bodies were.
Now, where did you hear that Ron Logan's phone pinged?
Oh, this was on News Nation.
Oh.
This is what's that woman's name that's always on there with them? I can't remember the name, but it was on News Nation just a few days ago. I didn't even know this, that his phone pinged at 2:07 on the bridge, 2:09 on the bridge, 2:07 was the girl's last social media post, and 7:30 that night or so around 7 that night, that his phone pinged around where the girls' bodies were found, and around 10 o'clock that night it pinged from where them girls' bodies were found.
I don't think it's Ron Logan. I think to me it looks like Richard Allen. What got me about Ron Logan is he's wearing similar clothes in an interview later. Of course, that's what people are thinking.
It has me thinking he's playing with them in that video. He wears the same outfit basically as the bridge guy. It's like he's taunting the police.
Yeah.
And then they go search the Wabash Bridge, and a month later, charges are on Richard Allen. See, they can't charge Ron Logan; he's dead.
Yeah, but still, they can charge him, and they can say we have our guy, but he's deceased. It's happened many times before. Just because someone's dead doesn't mean that they are just going to leave a case open. They're going to say, we're done with our investigation. It is Ron Logan. And you know, he's deceased. But they obviously found something with Richard because, well, they have a probable cause that's sealed. He's in jail, and they dug up his backyard. Somebody gave him something.
And I've been to his yard. I've been all around his yard. I've been to his house. I've been on the bridge. I've been all over them woods. And from what a neighbor told me, this is from a neighbor, a neighbor told me that what they found at his house was a dark blue jacket, sweater, or whatever, and wrapped in it was a knife, and they sent it off to DNA test, and it came back as Abby's blood on it, and that's how they indicted him.
Your neighbor told you that? Because now the DNA.
No, his neighbor.
Richard Allen's?
Yes.
Okay, because Logan's DNA didn't match.
No, I'm saying Abby's blood was on the knife that they found, and they dug it up out of his backyard by the red shed, sent it off for testing, and that's how they got the warrant for his arrest, the indictment. That's what I'm saying.
Did the neighbor hear this from Richard Allen's wife? Because
That was never told. I sit there for probably 2 hours, about two right after this happened. I think it was a Saturday right after this happened, and talked to the neighbors. I talked to everybody and around that area. And what's surprising to me, nobody lives in that house with Richard now. There's nobody in there. I looked through the window. There's nobody in that house.
Why? How did who told the neighbor this? I mean, I don't doubt you that the neighbor's telling you something like this. I can just imagine. This is also the neighbors that said they didn't think anything of what was going on that day. Who would have told
This is the same neighbor that was watching the whole situation with the binoculars on.
The one that told the news they didn't think anything of what was going on?
I don't know if they told the news that or not, but the one that at first didn't think was anything about it, but then it kept going on for 12 hours. And that night they called the police and asked them what was going on at that place because they had been there so long. And police stated to them to just keep an eye on your kids and keep an eye on your wife.
Okay,
exactly what they told them.
None of this is fact. None of this is fact because the
No, I'm telling you what I was told by neighbors.
I'm just wondering who supposedly told the neighbor this. You had to have asked who told you this.
No, he said that the knife and everything situation. He said he's seen them bring it, dig it in his backyard, dig it up, and they seen it in cloth, and all the police was out there. He said he's seen the whole thing. He was watching the whole thing with binoculars on.
I don't know. I think he's pulling your leg, my friend.
I don't know. It kind of makes sense. What other evidence could they have? They have to have solid evidence to even do anything to get this guy put behind bars. They have to have some kind of DNA, and it would kind of make sense that that's the way it happened.
Oh, I mean, it would make sense. I mean, if that's what comes out, that's what comes out. But I don't think the neighbor with binoculars, and I'm not trying to make you feel bad or anything. I just think that he's just wanting to tell a story. And that's probably, and yeah, they have a lot of evidence, and it could very well be that. I'm just kind of doubting the neighbor. I really am, because normally when they're doing something like that, they keep it very much under wraps, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and there's no way he could have walked to the bridge and did that and walked back. I mean, he lives on a dead end street. There's no way that would have happened. He'd have had to come through neighbors' yards and everything. He had to drive down there. That's a fact. He drove down there. It wasn't no walking at all.
Well, and I mean, and how long was he standing there with his binoculars on? Because Kathy was in the driveway for 12 hours.
Yeah, she left twice.
Did he mention his neck was sore? Because that's a long time to be looking through those binoculars.
Well, I don't know if he looked straight 12 hours, but he was in his window trying to find out what was going on over there because nobody else had an idea, you know. And from what I was told, he told me they was calling neighbor to neighbor, were calling each other and trying to find out what was going on. And also that one of the neighbors got when after the police told the one neighbor to make sure just keep an eye on your kids and your wife. That's when he got concerned. Then they made a phone call supposedly to one of the girls' families and was in contact with them. One of the neighbors were, and it wouldn't surprise me. That's a small town. Everybody knows everybody. I mean, that you could
it's
drive
odd
through it.
It's odd to me that the news station, the two neighbors that they did talk to, mention none of this. What they say is, and like I said, I'm sure you got a hold of the right one, but they didn't put this guy on the news for good reason. The people they talked to said they didn't think anything of what was going on. That blew my mind. They didn't say anything about, well, I kind of wondered. Nothing. I mean, two different neighbors said, I saw something going on. I didn't think anything of it. So for good reason, the neighbor you talk to, they're not talking to. They're not putting on the news.
Now, the neighbor I talked to said they didn't think of nothing of it at first, but it kept going on longer and longer. And then they got concerned. That's when they made the police call. They called the police and asked them what was going on at their neighbor's house. And the police told, they got in touch with a detective, and the detective told them that you need to just keep an eye on your kids and your wife. Exactly what they told them. And his wife left twice. The last time she left, they was already gone. Was the time she got back.
I heard that.
And
It's crazy, but I just if you talk to the neighbor again, you might want to tell him not to be going around spreading that stuff, He can
yeah, and I think that's the reason they're not going to open the evidence in this case and show us, is because there's other people involved and they don't want to screw the case up and they walk or something.
For sure, they're keeping everything tight to the vest, but I guess we'll find out on the 22nd and we're not talking about all the evidence that won't come out until they go to when they go.
No, I mean what the affidavit that got him arrested, it will say what evidence they found to link him to the murders.
Maybe.
And if it's that knife in the backyard.
Maybe. I don't know how much they really needed to convince this particular judge, the one that recused himself. I don't know how much they needed to give him in the probable cause. I don't know, because like I said, it's sealed. But if the neighbor saw all that, I cannot believe that every TV station in Indianapolis doesn't have him on.
What I don't understand is people don't understand this case right here is scrutinized by everybody in town. The police screw this up, and he walks after he goes to jury trial and he walks. They will the crap will hit the fan. Just say that it will hit the fan around here if he walks. That's how I know they have DNA. They wouldn't have just Keegan could have placed him there all they wanted, but they had to have proof.
Oh, I'm sure they've got lots of proof. The problem is, as it sits right now, and we're very new in this, he was just charged last week. It looks like a defense attorney's dream.
Oh, I agree. Unless they got DNA. If they got DNA, there's nothing a defense attorney could do about it. He could throw whatever.
Unless his constitutional rights have been trampled on in some way. We don't know how this is going to play out. We're just having a conversation here.
Yeah, I agree. It's just been wild. I mean, and I've been to the trail probably 5, 6, 7 times since then, and it's just I've walked the trail. I went where they found their bodies at. I got pictures, videos, everything I have posted, and and I went to Ron Logan's house. Ron Logan's son lives in his house right now.
Now, what's that? Who lives in Ron Logan's house?
His son.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's his son. And what I look at, the graveyard is right beside Ron Logan's property. And you go back to the graveyard, there's a big yellow flower in the back of the graveyard. That's about 300 feet over the barbed wire fence on the Ron Logan's property is where they found the girls' bodies.
Yeah, and that in itself makes people suspect Logan. Of course, the whole tropical fish story that he talked about that day. He lied about what he had going on. Of course, it came down to driving without a driver's license. I don't think it's Ron Logan. I really don't. And
Not alone. I don't think he actually did. I don't know if he actually did the killing, but I think he was involved in it. And I don't see the girls getting killed because that place is busy. I've been there several times. There's no way nobody would have heard them girls scream or anything during 2:30, 3 o'clock, whatever, in the afternoon. There's no way he killed them right there at that time during the day. There's no way that happened. There's no way. And I was told, and I've been told 2 or 3 different times, I've heard this over the years, that late that night after the search was over with, they heard screams out there, like girls' screams out there in the woods.
Well, let's do a poll with the chat. Who thinks Ron Logan is involved and who thinks he isn't? Because it's still, a lot of people are still saying he's the guy. It's not Richard Allen. Well, if he's the guy, that'd be easy. because he can't.
Did you know they said they disqualified him because of his age? And I said that old man was tough as nails.
No, I don't think that's why they disqualified him. I don't think he's involved, but that's just me.
And it's just, I think it ain't. Is it? I think there's. I don't know if he was actually involved in the doing it, but I think he was involved in the cover up. And I think Keegan's. I don't know if Keegan knew that Richard Allen was going to kill these girls when he went sent them out there, but I believe he sent them out there.
Well, I know when they asked Doug Carter specifically about him last week, he got way away from that question. He didn't say we've cleared him, anything like that. And let's face it, the man's dead. It's not like he can say, hey, I heard you on the news say you cleared me, so you can't screw with me anymore. You know what I'm saying? He got way away from that question. So I don't know.
Yeah, Doug Carter said nobody's been cleared.
Yep, he said, yeah, he did say that. He did say that. Well, hey, my friend, I appreciate you coming up and talking to me. My email is on the About tab, so if you have some time, send me an email.
Hey, I appreciate your time.
Hey, thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, guys, remember what he was told by the neighbor is the neighbor's account of what he saw through his binoculars while he was probably heavily drinking. Okay, because he would be on every news station. I appreciate Country Boy coming up and talking to us. I always like when locals come up and tell us what people in the community are saying. I agree with him when he said, if something goes wrong with this case, I have a feeling that the locals are going to come unglued. They may not have noticed anything that day when they were digging around in the back of Richard's house, but they're definitely piecing some stuff together now. And I bet as the time goes on, people are going to start, people that live in the neighborhood are going to start maybe exaggerating a little bit. Not Country Boy, but who he talked to. I know they're getting people knocking on their doors because, what is it? WTHR. I'm sure I'm saying the call letters wrong. They were showing the neighborhood and they've got keep out signs and stuff. Now that's kind of sad that the neighbors have to tell people, stay off my property, don't come to my door type of thing. But that's how it goes. But it was another great show. You guys are great. I love how we can have these conversations and we're not at each other's throats. Agree to disagree. And we're still friends at the end of the show. So I'm off to my day. I'm going to go vote. You guys get out and vote. Has everybody voted yet? Or are you going to vote after work? You going to vote at lunchtime? Whatever. Get out, vote. And I'm going to try to get another show together for later this afternoon. Don't hold me to it. You know how things go. Things get crazy. But you guys are crazy in a good way. Because you are the best chat and best community on YouTube. I will see you back here later. If not later this afternoon, definitely tomorrow morning. You guys have a great day.